my special guest today is Mark Semmelbeck. He is the CEO and founder of a really cool app. It's called A Better Meal. And I think you're all going to want to hear about this, especially with the rising costs in food today. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mark, tell us. I guess we'll start out with your background. So, what's your background, and how did you come up with this idea to create this really neat app?
It's been quite a path. So I'm educated as an engineer, went to Texas A&M,
Uh-huh.
studied engineering, and I was 15 years in the consulting world. And
Uh-huh.
then I had an independent oil and gas operating company with partners for 20 years. 2019, my partners and I, my partner of 20 years, and I decided we were going to do something different. And so he moved to a ranch, and I decided to take 3 months
Hmm.
at the start of 2020 and decide what was next. I wanted to do something in tech.
Uh-huh.
I've always been interested in it. And so I took 3 months off, and then COVID hit, and I got to take more time off.
There you
Uh,
go.
Wanted to look at how could we keep track of our groceries, right? Our inventory in our home, and then have an app or something that could recommend what we could make with what we have, and make
Right.
sure that we don't have 5 bottles of ketchup in the pantry, and make that more efficient.
Right.
And ended up with just uh, with the idea of building an app that could
Uh-huh.
keep track of what you have, but really help meal planning. My daughter um, uh, had her first children during that time, and
Uh-huh.
she's always been very organized and into meal planning and meal prep. But it was,
Uh-huh.
I also saw that it was stressful. So I thought I can come up with a way to make that less stressful.
So was that what was your, I guess one of the things I wanted to know is what would you consider your inspiration for this app? What was your inspiration to, was it like because COVID hit and you were kind of there and you had a lot of time to kind of sit and think? I know I'm interviewing so many people that came up with so many great things during COVID because of that. So was that one of the reasons also?
That's exactly right. That
Uh-huh.
is exactly, um, you know, everyone eats,
Right.
and everyone wants to eat more healthy. And
Hmm.
because of COVID, we were all eating in much
Yes.
more often. A
Yes.
lot of our favorite restaurants shut down. And so that really put that part of our life into perspective, as we can do a better job with the technology that we have. AI, people are using AI to figure out how to drive cars autonomously. Those are
Yes.
hard things.
That's
Getting AI to help us eat more healthy,
hmm
that should be
should be
an easy
agreed.
problem to solve.
Yes, it should be. And I think you're right. I know I people are always telling me how stressful mealtime is like when they have kids, and trying to keep it like healthy, just as you're saying, and thinking of the costs and all that. So walk us through, I guess, the key features of the app that we want people to know about.
The first thing is a meal plan.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it's interesting. When I first started looking into this, I thought people wanted to know what was in their pantry, use technology like computer vision and take a picture of your pantry, and it could just make a database of what you had in there. And what I found out is I would talk about that, and that would stress people out.
Uh,
People wanted, open the app, here's what I'm going to have this week.
mhm.
Here's a grocery list. I can send that to Kroger, HEB, and they can deliver the
Right.
groceries to my front porch, and here's what I'm going to cook. And I don't have to spend a bunch of time trying to figure out what I'm going to eat. So the meal plan is front and center. Recipes, we've got a good recipe database that we're increasing. We've got the ability to make a grocery list from those recipes. One of the neat things about recipes is we can get them and save them off Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or just a web search, and save
Right.
it into the app so you have it. Those are the main components of
So those are the
the
features.
app.
So I know I did look at through the app, but I didn't remember. So I know there are some apps out there that like you give it an ingredient and it'll come up with a recipe. Do you do anything like that? Like let's say, somebody's going to open their fridge and it's like, geez, I don't know what to make tonight, but I have chicken, I have sweet potatoes. Could you tell me? So you probably, I'm pretty sure it will do
We
something
have
like,
that capability, and that's one of the areas that we're really working on implementing AI in,
uh-huh,
because not only here's what you can make,
uh-huh.
but one of the first questions I asked when I was deciding to create this was that, busy mom and dad get home in the evening, they don't have anything planned, they don't want to go out, they don't want to order out. Here's three things that I can make that are healthy and that I like from
Mhm.
the things I have. So
Right,
we're working on uh, really making that um, a key part of the app.
right.
And, consumer behavior is, you know, 25 years in the oil business, I didn't deal with consumer behavior. I knew everybody put gas in their car, but
Right.
but here, it's important to understand how people think about what they want to eat. And
Exactly.
it's more than just AI, it's community also.
Hi, I'm Maria Liberati, Gourmand World Award winning author and chef. I've spent years educating and exploring the world in my very own TV show. And now I'd like to invite you all to listen to the Maria Liberati Show, my podcast. You can listen to the podcast anywhere podcasts are heard. And you can also find me at marialiberati.com.
Oh, exactly. So, well, what do you mean community? Like so is there a feature relating to community on the app? Tell us.
Well, yes. So right now, one of the biggest areas that I'm happy about is the community that we're building on Facebook and
Oh, that's
Instagram,
great.
building who we are and making those connections.
Uh-huh.
So we've got in our plan for the app to move some of that community within the app so people can share their ideas. For instance, going back to my daughter again, two of her children have significant food allergies. That's a lot of work and a lot of stress to look for food
Yes.
that solving that problem. And so a big part of that community is going to be not just food allergies and
Uh-huh.
things like that, but sharing ideas
Mhm.
on how to eat more healthy, how to get our kids to eat healthy foods, and how to make those small changes that end up with us being more healthy.
And that's definitely great. And I do know lots of parents that deal with that issue of who can eat this and who can't eat that, who's allergic to that, who's allergic. So that's definitely good, the building community and kind of helping each other out. But I was going to ask you, can you share are there any like success stories that you could share with us of people that had used the app?
Yes, we're just having the app organized. There are a lot of people who are just learning about meal planning, right? So many people I know, when my wife and I got married,
Uh-huh.
you know, neither one of us had cooked a lot. And so certainly that's the way for young families now. And what we're seeing is the feedback we're getting is just providing healthy, uh, good
Uh-huh.
uh, recipes in one place
Uh-huh.
where you can keep track of the grocery list and all that is really driving people to look at these types of apps for
Mhm.
help. One common way that people do it is search on search online for
Right.
recipes.
Yes.
But then you have to make your list separate and you do your shopping separate.
Right.
And
Yes.
being able to do all this in one place,
Right.
people are really finding that is just, it's much more efficient and it's saving
Exactly.
time. And you know, a big deal for us is making it fun. And right
Yes.
now that's primarily through our social media, but
Oh,
we are
there you
moving
go.
that into the app so that it's
Yes.
together.
All together.
We're producing our own cooking videos. We
Oh,
have
that's great.
an excellent French trained chef
Uh-huh.
uh, who, along with one of our team members who is also a mom and wants
Uh-huh.
to learn how to cook, and they're putting together great videos
Oh, that's
on
great.
everything from how to chop an onion
Right.
to how to make tasty meals.
That's
So
great. Yeah, that's a whole, it's just like a whole, it's becoming a whole, wow, whole thing now with the social media, the Facebook and the community, and now videos and teaching people, making it fun. Wow, that's great. And yes, it is kind of the old-fashioned way of writing out a list and then checking this, checking that. It seems, I know a better meal just makes it so much easier and quicker and concise. And isn't that really why, people are needing to do meal planning to save time, and that's what a better meal is definitely doing. It is helping to save time. Sounds like you've gotten feedback and reviews from users. Is there any like important lessons or things that you've learned and from any of those? Anything you can think of?
certainly. So this, like any business that a person starts, you have an idea,
Uh-huh.
and then that slaps right into the wall of the consumer
Right.
and what they want. And you know, my background as an engineer is always been about optimizing processes, which
Mhm.
mean you make a little change here, and if the benefit is greater than the cost, then it's a good thing. But
Right.
when you talking about a consumer,
Uh-huh.
now a consumer might listen to your story and say, "Oh, that sounds great. That would be a wonderful thing if you could build that." And
Mhm.
then you build that and they say, well, and they don't use a big part of it, or
Right.
they want a different part. You find out when they use it,
Right.
yeah, I don't want to keep track of what's in my pantry. I just want you to tell me what I'm going to eat this
Right.
week. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
and also, you know, started out, this app was very much like a database and a
Mhm.
data managing app.
Mhm.
And what people want is an experience, really more of a relationship,
Right.
is one way to say it, with the app,
Exactly.
where they are entertained, they're educated, it makes life easier, and it makes life more fun, right?
Exactly. I can just imagine. So I guess since we're almost out of time, I guess a couple of the things. One is, what are your any future plans? Anything? I'm sure it sounds like you're constantly growing and coming up with all neat, interesting ideas. So any future plans that we can look forward? You know what I wanted to ask? So how long has a Better Meal app been in existence?
When I started this idea and decided this was what I want to do, I started taking classes online to learn how to program.
That's great.
And then I determined, well, if I want to get this done in my lifetime, I need to get professionals.
Right.
So I hired a third party group
Uh-huh.
that will take your idea and they'll do it all. And
Right.
so
An app.
that
Yes.
did not turn out well.
Ah.
So the first year was really a learning experience without
Right.
having a lot to end. Now I
Exactly.
put together a team, and
Right.
it is an excellent team.
Yeah.
And now we are a year and a half into, actually, from the time I started putting together my own team
Uh-huh.
and up until now, and have recently added more people to the team. As far as the future,
Yes.
we teamed up with a designer who
Uh-huh.
has 10 years of experience in designing apps, and we've got a that we are working on now that should be through testing and everything and getting feedback from our users. We'll be releasing to the public around the first of the year.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So tell people where they can download and where they can get this. I guess it's just on Apple, the Apple Store, right? Because that's where I
Apple
got
Store
mine
and
from.
Google Play. With Google-based phones, the Google Play Store, and it's a Better Meal app.
Okay,
And
a better
you can
app.
search for that and find it. And we've got about 1,000 people a month are downloading the app,
Wow.
and
And they can look
it's very
for,
exciting.
yes, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, so on Facebook, they just look for a better meal.
Yes, we have
Yep.
both Instagram and Facebook
A
communities.
better meal.
Yes, that's
Okay,
exactly right. And we're
that's
working on a YouTube channel.
there
It's
you go.
gonna,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, yes, that's great. I'm sure you'll have a lot of that coming out of what you're telling me. It's just incredible how it's building. Mark, thank you so much for being here. A Better Meal app, if you want to plan healthy meals and make it stress-free, definitely check out A Better Meal. It's a great app. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.